You guys ready? 7 o'clock, we have quorum. Would you please all rise, take off your hats, and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, word must be out that town hall's air conditioned because we're getting a bigger crowd. So if that's what it takes, that's great. Good evening and welcome to Town Council. Let's see, we've done the pledge. We have approval of minutes. We have 3 different minutes today. We've got the executive meeting on June 18th. We have the council regular meeting of June 18th, and we have the budget workshop of June 25th. We can take these all together, or we can take them singly. What's the pleasure of the council?
Everybody was, everybody was at all of them.
Let me hear a motion.
Yeah. There you go.
I've got a motion to approve all 3 minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second and a third. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. On to the public meeting. First up, parking space closure request. Michelle. Alan? Come on up. Your name and what do you do? Oh, seriously, your name and what do you do?
I'm Michelle Callan, and what we're doing is we are actually holding a private event. We've rented out the Royal Theater, and we're asking for about 2 spaces, 2.5 spaces, in order for us to have the Indie Beer Taps vehicle available to the participants at the event at the Royal Theater.
Okay, now, you said 2 or 2.5. Is it 2 or 3? Just for
I'm looking at
clarification. Ray, is 3 a problem?
Has no problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's important to get his approval.
Yes.
Council, what do you think? And this is going to be from 6 to 10.
Yes.
Okay, so most of the businesses should have a problem there. Anybody from the Royal have a problem with this? No. Okay. All right. Laura, any problems? Hey, Council, any problems? Shall we approve this?
Move to approve.
I've got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. So all in favor of issuing a temporary use permit for July 11th from 6 to 10, 3 spots in front of the Royal, signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
All right. Well, since the theme seems to be temporary use permit, let's keep going. Caitlin Russo, come on down.
Nick, you guys are
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Caitlin Russo. I own Blended Juice and Smoothie Bar on the square, and I am asking for the east side of the Courthouse Square Street to be closed on September 5th at from 5 to 7 so that we can host a free workout to the public. We're going to have someone from the DAC that hosts a workout at the DAC. It'll be like, we'll have music playing. It'll be like a Zumba style workout, and it'll be free to the public. So we want the street to be closed off so that we can
Okay.
work out on the street.
And according to my notes here, both the police and fire chiefs have the opportunity to review this request, indicated that they have no issues. DPW will assist with barricades. Laura, you're good with this? Council members, your thoughts?
Have you ever done this before?
Close.
Have you
Done
ever
the workout?
held one of these workouts before?
Yes, I have. Yep. It's a good time.
You look like a Zumba kind of guy.
I'm a Zumba
You should
guy.
come.
As long as there's an ambulance.
Guys,
there.
welcome. All
I need
ages.
ambulance. Excuse me?
Mark can provide the ambulance.
I think this is a great idea. I think it's cool that you're trying something like this. Hope it works out. I am not a Zumba person, but more power to you. You have
Thank
mine?
you.
So what is,
I move to approve.
okay, we've got a motion to approve the temporary use permit. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a second to approve the temporary use permit for a free workout to the public on September 5th, that's a Wednesday, from 5 to 7. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It carries.
Thank you.
Zumba away.
Hey.
Coordinate with Ray Whitaker about street closures and barricades.
All right, next up is the Danville Aquaplex presentation. A weighty little number of facts and figures here. And I have to start off by making a disclaimer that my wife has been a swim coach for many years. She's a veteran swim coach, so I'm slightly biased here, simply because I married into a swimmer family and all my kids swam. So I'm telling the council right now, I'm a little bit prejudiced simply because it's in their blood. Chlorine runs in their blood.
I'd have to support Mike, and I know you guys have been working hard on this, I've heard from before. You guys have to be commended on all the hard work you've done.
But tell us, Tim, what you got?
I would like to start off by thanking the town council and Laura Parker for allowing us to share our story with you tonight. Tonight, I'll be up front. We would like to provide you with our aquatics research so that you may consider a financial partnership with Danville Aquaplex and the Danville Community School Corporation. And our presentation tonight is strictly informative only. I'd like to introduce our committee. Our board is Danville Aquaplex for Health, Wellness, and Sport. We're comprised of 4 members. We have Casey Sadler. She's a school teacher. And we have Kirsten Simon, who is a community fundraiser. And we have Julie Petrie, who is a construction project manager. Okay, never seen her. And
now we know why you're on their board.
Yes, that's right. And my name is Tim Higbee, and I am a civil engineer and land surveyor here in town. All of us on this board are parents of students at Danville High School or community schools, all the schools actually, and we lived in Danville, and we've been a part of the Danville swimming and diving community as coaches and team members and anything that relates to Danville swimming and diving community. But we organized our group not only because we volunteer and work with swim events, but to learn what it takes to build, maintain, and operate an aquatic center that would serve the needs of the community to teach safe water sports, swim lessons to all ages, provide the school with aquatic activities, and provide for our youth sports, competitions, event hosting, and community activities for all ages. And we've come together to help foster and guide the growth of aquatic activities in Danville. So our group desires to be a partner and a facilitator within the planning, design, and aquatic programming process to ensure that Danville has a new aquatic facility that will meet the needs for the community. And we also want to see that the facility will have the specifications necessary to be accepted by USA Swimming, USA Diving, IHSA Swimming and Diving, and the community's health, wellness, and safety needs as well. And we appreciate our high school pool, which we use quite extensively, the community does, and the opportunity that it provides for our youth sports and the development of our young athletes. And we see the need for change as more growth and interest in the sport of swimming is coming. As we grow, we grow our lessons program, our safe water programs, the swim club, the high school swim teams, the middle school swim teams. We have an aquatics class at the high school pool. That existing pool is becoming less accessible to all in the community that would like to use it. So to serve that need, we would like to plan a new facility that will include the school and the community with swim lessons, aerobics, therapy, aquatic programs that can appeal to the community, but also serve the school with their competitive teams, their classrooms, meeting rooms, and weight rooms, and aquatic programming. Now, Danville High School pool was constructed around 1974, And like so many others around the county at that time, they were great assets for the local swim leagues in the summertime and the teams and the classes that the school needed. But now these older school pools are starting to close due to the inefficiencies and the accessibility issues, including handicap and safety accessibility. The outdated design in the small space is just making it harder and more difficult for the current Danville High School facility to serve its needs and the needs of the community. And it's our opinion that doing nothing limits Danville's ability to be competitive and to attract meets. It eliminates our ability to attract more youth to the sport, and it eliminates Danville from ever hosting anything like a sectional meet, a regional meet, or a county conference, or any type of meet like that. So we feel that good facility planning and design will open a facility up to the schools and the community, and then offer even an option for a medical or health rehabilitation partner to create new and competitive space for the community and our interest. Some things that we've done so far as a group, not within our group, but individually, we've grown and managed the current Heat Swim Club, and we've managed the swim lessons program. We're also working with USA Swimming and the Director of Club Development Facilities with USA Swimming. Casey and Kirsten attended a pool conference, Build a Pool conference in New York City, which is an accredited workshop that helps us with the process of planning and design, and they actually stay with us throughout this process of planning and designing the new facility. We attended the Danville Community School Board meeting back in February. We presented this to Dr. Schaefer and the school board, and they are in agreement that a new facility will be necessary in the near future due to the current aging pool. And they're also excited to partner with us to have a new on-site facility. We've met with the Visit Hendricks County, and they said that this would have a significant positive effect for our community and the schools. We've also met with Hendricks County Community Foundation, and they also feel a new facility would be a great asset for our community. We've contacted Vigo County Pool. They have a pool that serves their community. Elkhart Convention and Visitors Pool, which is a big partnership between a medical group, the high schools, and the community. We've talked with Ortho Indy, who has a new YMCA pool in Indianapolis that's being built right now. And we've also been working very closely with the Crawfordsville Community Pool. And we've gathered all this information for the high school, community, and public-private partnership structures. We put out a survey, and we had 250 respondents. 75% of the respondents were from within the Danville Community School District, and another 15% were just right outside of the district, and a lot of people that use the pool from, say, Putnam County or Heritage Lake area and things like that. We've provided that information in your packet, so there's lots of information in there about that survey and some of the questions and responses. We also had some public interest at the Mayberry Festival this year. So it's our desire to partner with the school and the community, along with the possible health group, to allow them to use the space for therapy and medical rehab. And we feel that this model would help serve numerous groups that are looking for aquatic help, as well as serve the community with recreational space and, most importantly, safe water swim lessons. And just as an aside here, did you know that in 2017, Indiana was ranked number 8 in the highest number of pool and spa drownings in the United States? And that's just under the age of 15. And that's just between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So we strongly feel that a community with water-safe lessons and programs that are properly managed actually saves lives in the community. I'd like to just briefly review what we're talking about in terms of a facility. We'd like a facility that's open to the community for swim and recreation hours, services that feature health and wellness, and with an emphasis on water safety. We'd like to staff the aquatic center so that it can be organized with year-round programming and include the school's programs, swim lessons, clubs, aerobic classes, recreation, therapy, and wellness activities. And we want to accomplish this goal by having the facility connected to the school for access to their classes and their meeting rooms and weight rooms, but that's able to be closed off from the school when school's not in session so that it can continue to serve the community and continue to operate and serve the community with their recreation and school or club activities. Other possibilities, we'd welcome the facility to be open for other amenities to be added that would include maybe an indoor track or weight rooms or other usable space related to the health and wellness activities. And we're seeking a space that would be for 2 pools that would have 600 plus seating capacity. And the 2 pools would be 10 lanes of competition and a 10-lane diving well. 600 plus seating so that we could have events and income. We would like it to have a therapy warm water pool with a sloped entry and a shallow lessons area. And that could actually be part of the diving well. We would like it to have a separate community entrance with parking for the community. And it should also have vendor space for concessions and health food convenience and possible pro shop. We also are considering the option of doing a monolithic concrete dome, which would help us to qualify for a FEMA 361 grant, since we are in a tornado alley, or we're in a tornado risk area. And if we were to do that, it could possibly serve as a community shelter. So in closing, I just want to say that this important project is going to enable our community's families to have access to state-of-the-art recreation, competitive, and wellness services for years to come. And our schools will have access to teach children how to swim, to compete, and I think Danville will be recognized as a contender at new levels. And now our community has a spark to begin this initiative, and I want to thank you guys for having great interest in this project. So thank you, and if you have any questions, we are here.
Where are we going to put it?
Well,
In your packet, there were several different.
I think we did include some sketches, so we were thinking about
All right.
Gave 3 spots.
somewhere near the high school so that they could use it for their school activities.
Tim, ideally, when would you like this to be up and running?
Well, we would like to see it in 2 years. That's how long Vigo took to do theirs.
What's it take to construct
It should take just over a year.
it? And what, the elephant in the room, what's the cost? Estimation.
We have it at 15, right around 15 million. For what? Yeah, at the most. So that's to include what we're asking here, which we feel that if we build it for events, then we can actually have the income for that. If you build it too small, maybe, it wouldn't be able to host events.
One of the, when I looked at the footprints, obviously that's going to be more of a, attached to the school. That's obviously more of a school board decision where it gets put. Teaching at that building, of course, I have favorite spots in mind. But one thing, and this happened, and Laura, you'll have to help me. School started to do a road cut. Was that 12, 15 years ago? Ray, do you remember?
20 years ago, yeah.
Right over to Mackey. One of the concerns, at least that I have on the town council, is any ingress or egress try to line up with our current streets, in this case Mill Street. Some of these show that you have an ingress egress literally pointing right at someone's house. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a concern, especially, I forgot, I actually coached swimming. So I remember those big meets. And you've got 500 or 600 cars coming in and out, blaring their lights into somebody's living room. That is a bit of a concern for us. I think it helps us as traffic flow too if those roads are aligned. So I encourage you that when you do your design, keep that in mind. I know with Westview, it's not really an issue, but with West Mill, that would be nice if we lined up, and I know that at least one footpath had something similar.
What other sources of funding do you anticipate getting?
Well, we're looking at possibly a partnership with a medical group, and we're hoping that it's something more than a sponsorship. Maybe they could actually include some of their offices in there. But what we're doing is trying to put all of this together, that structure, so that we can find out how that would be done. We do feel the school does need to replace their existing facilities, so we feel that that's more than likely what they want to do and what they should do, and we would like to make it more of a community interest as well. So we would look at memberships and things like that as well. And we feel that if it's programmed well, that would help with all of that funding.
When you mentioned some of the other partners that you have been to, forgive me, but did you mention HRH?
We have not mentioned HRH, but we're open to that, yes.
Because that's a biggie in this community, so.
Yes.
Because we're looking at about 25. We're trying to pull that.
Is that something that Okra could do, Laura? So I'm not sure. But I mean, could we partner with them and get that done? Usually the planning grants don't cost, they're not as competitive as the standard Okra grants are.
Usually that much, but I mean, we can explore it and see what might be available.
What will they do with the current pool?
Well, they haven't specifically said, but they need the space. They need that interior space for sure. They've said that to us. So I'm thinking they would fill it in and use it for either open common area or something like that. But
I want to see a successful in this. I would maybe talk to some of the major car dealerships too. They do football fields and a lot of things like that. And then I know that Coach Barber is really after a field house. They need another 1 or 2 basketball courts. So maybe you could get more money from schools or other things, maybe incorporating that. You talked. All this is because you talked about a track. Inside the track, you could have a couple basketballs. So maybe a way to get extended funding from people that are not swimmers, possibly basketball.
Yep.
And Coach Barber may approach the school board, possibly get more money because it would help him as well.
we welcome all of that. I know that our focus is on the aquatic part.
Right.
But
right.
yep. Sure.
So if this got built with that separate diving well, would that ensure that dive coach would be around for a few more years?
That may have to be a stipulation.
I think it should. I hear some ugly rumors lately. Come on, man. You got grandkids that might be divers.
Well, this is apples and oranges compared to the Gill Aquatic Center, but Will, do you have any thoughts?
Unlike so many groups that come at the end and want money and help, I applaud you for coming in the early stages. Now we've got a lot of time to think. We can partner together and find out, how much, if we all agree, how much can we actually come to the table with, not a bottom line at the end where it feels like if we all agree.
Yeah.
A partnership to where we know in the beginning stages. So thank you for that.
Right. And we are seeking other ways to getting it done too. So.
Do you have a specific dollar amount that you have in mind for looking to us for?
No, we don't. We're strictly looking to put this partnership together, and then we're looking for the ideas of how we can keep it moving forward, so that we can, the current situation we have now is a summer pool at Gill, and we have a high school pool that's interior and closed basically throughout the summer. So if we can work together and bring the community part to this project, I think it's going to open it up for a lot more, and then we'll have that money coming.
think it's a great, I mean, I think it would be a great asset to the community. There's no question about that. It's just finding the funding to get there.
Yep. Any other questions for Tim and his team? Team swimming. All right, thank you very much for presenting,
Thank you.
and we look forward to you guys keeping us in the loop, and we'll see what we can do to help you out.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great. You know, if you name that swimming part after Mary, she'd probably be baking bread till the day. No, the Draper. You know, yeah, make her happy. All right, thank you. Traffic engineering proposal, Laura.
Okay, so at the last council meeting, I mentioned that we had some concerns, not just recently, but through many decades, regarding this very
Bless
funky
you.
intersection where Blake Street, Lincoln, Cartersburg, Tennessee all converge. This is just a proposal to enlist the services of Chet Sporkin from Traffic Engineering, one of our own, lives in our own backyard, who's offered to help, and he'll do a study of this intersection and suggest some possible remedies to make it safer.
Will that also include looking at the power poles? Because there are 5, if not 6, power poles that would have to be moved or relocated or modified in some way, shape, or form
Yeah,
for any
that's-
improvement on that intersection.
And that would depend on what kind of improvement you want to do. Nothing to a roundabout. It's really sad. So, you know, that's sort of the gamut of the ways that you can deal with this intersection. So, but it's worth looking at, and then those types of finer details, depending upon which direction you choose, can be factored in. I can't imagine any intersection being any worse than the one we just went through in terms of utilities, so.
Well, I think it's an important study that we need to do, because I think that is a dangerous intersection. There's just constantly blind spots, and you don't know who's coming in. I don't know what the accident rate is there, but I think there's got to be some.
There's some, I've already pulled those reports, and Chief Rainey provided it. Really, since 14, there's been, 4 or 5. Not huge.
It's more of an
Right.
inconvenience, and there's been a lot of close misses.
Yeah, a lot of close calls that you never hear about because they don't result
Sure.
in any accidents.
You'll involve Ray and the school bus lady with this.
Absolutely. So it's really, this is the Friends and Family discount. This is a really good price for this kind of study. So, Jenny and I spoke briefly last week about where to fund it from, and she had a couple of ideas.
Professional services, LRS, or host?
My recommendation would be the edit fund. We have budgeted $15,000 out of professional services. We haven't spent any yet year to date, so I recommend.
Edit or professional?
Out of edit professional services would be my recommendation.
All right, so we have this traffic study. We have our friends and family discount. We all know the intersection. We've got a map here. I go through this multiple times every day. I have not seen any accidents. I've seen some near misses. I've seen people blow right past the school bus. We've got the bridge south of this intersection, and it's not a flat bridge. It's arched, so coming over the top, if there's a sudden stop, could be dramatic. And there have been people that, are making a left. It does get a little bit hairy right there off of Blake Street. Lincoln. So, what is the pleasure of the council on this?
I think it's the most reasonable price we could
I think so,
ever
too.
spend to at least get a really good idea, for sure.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to award
Traffic engineering.
traffic engineering study in the amount of $2,670 from the Edit Fund Professional Services for this particular intersection. Any other discussion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, next we have ordinance 8, 2018, proposed parking amendment. Up for introduction. Do we want to deal with it? Anybody?
Just for, just prepared a draft for you to look at, but I thought you should hear from Chuck.
Okay.
He's
Chuck?
the one.
Your name and what do you do?
My name is Chuck Foggett, and I'm representing the Wexford Commons Homeowners Association. And the reason we're here tonight is to ask that you formalize the yellow lines that you put in near the entrance of one of our intersections. When Wexford was built, the town came in, and all the intersections and all the fire hydrants and all that, they have yellow lines, which are great. We appreciate that. In Wexford, we really don't allow any parking during the day. If people have special events and things, of course, you can do that, but they ask that the cars be removed after that. No parking overnight. We have one area, though, where we are asking that you do a little bit more. The lines are already there. We're just asking that you formalize it. In fact, we asked a few weeks ago, and I met with the superintendent. He said, that makes sense, and so he put them in. We want to make sure that they have some teeth, and so in case somebody parks there, so that they would know not to park there because they get a parking ticket. And where it is, it's at the intersection of Manchester and Sycamore Lane. So right across from the new park, you do have the yellow lines. You did have the yellow lines for the entrance itself. And then there's an intersection, though, that the first lot is 200 feet north to south. So 200 feet in there, you get to an intersection, and there are yellow lines there. But the gap that you filled in here just a few weeks ago, it was 70 feet on the east side of the street, east side of Manchester, and 71 feet on the west side of Manchester. Now, when you did that, it worked out great because it really makes it that when you turn into the entrance, it's yellow lines all the way up past the intersections. And in fact, there's actually a fire hydrant a little bit beyond on the left side. So it makes it much safer, really. And the reason that we're asking this is, even though the majority of people do comply with the request not to park, there's always somebody that does. And if they do it there, it's really not that safe. Because when you're coming to the intersection from the north, it's a pretty wide street, and it kind of narrows down as you go through. And that's not a good place for there to be a car on the right. And then as you turn in, coming into the subdivision, the street it comes in, and then it immediately comes to an intersection. And if a car is parked on the right and somebody has come through that kind of a narrow entranceway, it's not a good place to have a car right on the right. So the lines are there, and so we're just asking that you formalize it.
Chuck, my question is, the homeowner that is on that first lot on the west side, that would prohibit any on-street parking for him, even in special occasions. Is that a concern to that homeowner?
Well, it already had a yellow line there. But there was a yellow line before they built their house. So there's been no change to them with any of this. And, they've not had any problem. They realized when they came in there that they had to have their driveway way to the north of that because there's really no room. And, of course, they realized they couldn't park there because the yellow line is there.
Property owner that lives at this particular house, are you in the audience today? I don't really have a problem with this, although I do think that this person should be notified if we're going to do something like this.
That was my only thought, is that person is affected by it more than anybody.
I'd like to give them an opportunity to say something.
The offender is the second house.
Oh.
My son and all the high school kids. That's the offenders.
Oh, but
So
the way
it
this
probably needs yellowed. Because they've gotten 2 or 3 tickets in the past few weeks, and they're going to pay them, but not my kids, but their friends. But it's because there's 2 houses in the neighborhood, they congregate at mine and this one, and when they come to this one, their cars are everywhere.
Right. Ray, your thoughts? Do you want to paint some more yellow line?
I think it's already there is the point.
Chuck and I met out on the site, and we discussed the problem there, and as we were standing there, cars were coming down and they were swerving clear around over into the other lane to get around the cars that were parked on the curb there to get down through the entrance there into Wexford. I looked at Chuck and I said, I can call a bluff. We'll put a yellow line and connect the two yellow lines. But there is no ordinance to back it up.
200 feet
And that's
sufficient?
why Chuck is here tonight to
Okay. Is the
ask for
200
that to be
feet
done.
sufficient?
We connected both yellow lines, yes. I believe that would be sufficient.
That 200 feet covers all of the existing yellow plus what's being added, so. I
You
guess
talked-
covered.
You talked about teeth. You mean more of a fine? Is that another day, another motion? I think the fine for that now is like $15.
And that's what
Yes,
would-
it is. And we can't change that without changing the town's codifications and
Okay.
ordinances. So that would be a fee adjustment if that were to ever be changed, so it won't change.
And I'll make sure that I talk to the homeowner of number 2. It's still
I assume this has been brought to their attention before and it just never went away.
Well, from what I understand, over the last several years, I couldn't even tell you exactly. where it came from. It's always been a problem. Out front there.
What's the pleasure of the council? Been introduced, we could deal with it next time, or we could suspend the rules and pass it today. Is that correct, Laura?
That's correct.
Just for clarification, what exactly? We've already put the yellow line down.
To allow the police department to enforce that yellow.
They can enforce it too, they're already there, we just, okay.
already enforcing it, but I guess we need to make it official.
Obviously, I mean, it sounds like something we need to deal with.
There, we're just formalizing what they've already done. Suspend the rules or no?
Move to suspend.
I've got a motion to suspend. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Do I have a motion on ordinance number 8?
Moved.
Motion on ordinance 8, 2018, an ordinance to amend the Danville Town Code, Title 7, Traffic Code, Chapter 74, Parking Schedules, specifically Manchester Drive, to a distance of approximately 200 feet north of the center line of Sycamore Lane. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All of those in favor of passing ordinance number 8, 2018, signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes. Got your line.
Thank you very much.
The line that's already there.
And the Wichita line.
All right, ordinance number 9, 2018, proposed parking amendment. Laura?
So if Chief Franny were here, he'd be explaining to you an issue that he's been dealing with out in Clear Creek where on a cul-de-sacs, a neighbor is having issues with other neighbors parking directly in front of their mailbox, preventing their postal carrier to deliver. They've talked with the residents across the street and they're not getting anywhere. So I've probably had this complaint maybe once or twice in the last 20 years. So it's not the first time, but generally, the public knows not to park in front of each other. When an officer was dispatched, obviously, it's not specifically called out in our town. Technically, you can park in front of a mailbox right now. So this was just to amend the ordinance to include no parking in front of mailboxes, should you so desire, and deal with this neighbor's problem.
Are we going to yellow line every mailbox?
Absolutely not. We don't yellow line down in front of every driveway, and the driveways are called out in that list of prohibitions.
Does the post office have a dog in this fight? I mean, if postal carriers can't deliver the mail, yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is there something from their side that says block access to the
Not that I
mailbox?
know of, they simply drive past and don't do it.
Okay.
I can tell you when mine's been blocked, and I'm not complaining, but he would get out and put it in the mailbox, so
What
It's just
cul-de-sac are
different.
we talking about?
Brookwood in Clear Creek. Or Brook Court, Brook Circle.
We have no, we can't even put a ticket on it, it's not.
That's correct.
I
Can't
would
tow
have-
it, can't
I
ticket
would
it.
have thought that,
So
I would have thought that it would have been not allowed.
Something even higher than us,
Yeah.
if not allowed.
Tough one, because it can see it both ways. You need to park somewhere. Park. It's legal to park there, it's legal to park there.
Well, my thing is, if it's not marked, and unless we do a lot of publicity to let people know that, and then we go out and ticket people, there's gonna be a lot of people upset because they didn't know they couldn't park there because they've always been allowed to park. So I would say if we pass this ordinance, we need to do at least a story in the Republican to notify people that there is an ordinance in place prohibiting this, and they will be ticketed regardless of a yellow line.
Good point, possibly some leeway to where first offense is
Yes.
something like that.
And honestly, people may be doing it elsewhere, but if their neighbors aren't complaining, it's not known to us. So someone's only going to get called. Problem, because it's not an issue, they're not going to call. Yeah.
When the officer was dispatched, did the people move their car?
In fact, said there's no law against it.
Buying problem there.
I think,
I think I'd be upset if I didn't get my mail 3 or 4 days in a row,
and that's the reason why.
and a guy refuses to.
I have a little problem with trying to legislate that kind of behavior, though. I don't know how many people this could affect, and then all of a sudden, will the calls go from 1 or twice in 20 years to 6 a day? Probably have neighbors that parks there every once in a while. All of a sudden, their request, their window, fight this.
And certainly introduce the ordinance, see if you get more feedback at the meeting later this month. We can make some posts on social media, and certainly invite the complaining homeowner to come in and tell her side.
And the resisting homeowner.
I think this warrants a little more discussion
so,
than
too.
just painting lines on, or okay in
It's a little
existing lines.
different animal. Yeah.
So let's just consider this introduced, and we'll get back if, maybe if we want to invite the individuals that want to present and explain to us. And then maybe if we also had a map so we could see, if it's a really tight cul-de-sac with a lot of vehicles, or if there's other options, but they just choose to do this, just to irritate a neighbor, or it's convenient in some way, shape, or form. Not knowing the address and not knowing the intersection, it makes it difficult for me to, or the cul-de-sac, makes it very difficult for me to really act on it. Okay? All right, let's move on.
Sounds like something from Steve Hartsock's people.
Resolution 8, 2018, transfer of funds, Fire Department. Chief Morgan?
Appreciate your courtesy.
In my mind, it was
Yes,
already there.
I knew you were.
I was
Thank
waiting
you.
for the appropriate time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I've come before the council tonight so that I don't have to seek an additional appropriation in accounts. I am seeking to transfer funds from various accounts into other various accounts. I believe you've been provided with a list of the transfers and what the request of them to transfer is. Discuss any of them with you.
Chief Morgan let me know this 2 weeks ago that he was going to do that, so I really appreciate the good communication and keeping me in the loop.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, any questions for Chief Morgan, first of all? All right, so we have Resolution 8, 2018, a resolution providing for the transfer of appropriations between major budget classifications. Chief Morgan is very good at being fiscally responsible and making sure that the money, number one, is there, number two, is moved over appropriately. I see no problems with this. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve Resolution 8, 2018. Do I have a second? I'll second it. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution 8 is passed.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your time.
All right, anything from the public tonight? Yes, sir. Your name and what do you do, and have you signed in?
Yes, I've signed in. I'm
Thank
Greg
you.
Van Leer.
Greg, could you step up to the mic? On our last meeting, people that were talking in the back, we couldn't hear any comments. This just makes it a lot easier. Much better.
I actually am glad that you invited me up here because I wanted to be able to speak into the microphone to make sure that the audio in the room works. I would like to humbly request that anybody with a microphone in front of them that they could please lean forward and speak into the microphone, because over the months I have sat in various spots around the room, and it is sometimes difficult to hear communication. So again, very humbly request to speak into the microphone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Greg, did you ever think that sometimes we lean back so you can't hear us?
Yeah, it's comfortable.
Anything else from the public? Yes, sir. Your name and what do you do? I think I've seen you once or twice.
Larry Edwards, my father and I, we co-own Edwards Equipment out east of town here. Come seeking mainly information here this evening, not sure how to really handle it. We purchased ground just due west of us from the O'Brien family, 2015, I believe. And at that time, of course, we were seeking sewer hookup because we had run into trouble with our existing system, which we did. We wanted to open up the back part of that property, the southern part of that property, which we cleared. It was wooded and never had been used. And at that point, we've been put on hold ever since from the town because there's some serious drainage problems along that road that exists between us and the old Richard Bennett place, now the auction house. That water that comes from the north end for years has eroded that ditch and also that background. We've literally got the only waterfall in Danville, I believe, and it's 8 foot deep. It literally uprooted one of the power poles there. So there's some serious water that comes down through there. I contacted Barry Lofton at that time, perhaps in the spring of 2016, and he came out and looked. Gary Aiken, accompanying him, also came out and looked at that ground and looked at the problem to see what could be done, what should be done, and that sort of thing. We sell equipment. We don't manage water, so we don't know, and we relied on them. We went through about a year and a half of Barry both putting us off and trying to get an idea of what we can do about the problem. Meanwhile, it's still growing back up again. The property is, and we were told we can't do anything until that ditch is put in and the problem rectified. And at that time, there was no plans for the substation that is now being planned by the power company going in on that road. At that point, Barry had put me off to the fall of 2016, and it became the spring of 2017. And at that point, then that power company was planned. So at that point, Barry said, well, we got to hold off because they're willing to do the engineering on whatever needed to be done for the water. And so, again, we've been waiting ever since. I did speak to him mid-part of this, or the early part of this year, and he said, no, it's not the town's problem, it's the county's problem. And at that point, I mentioned that we've been talking to Barry for almost 2 years now, and he tells me I've been talking to the wrong guy. So we contacted, what was the fellow's name from?
David Gaston.
David Gaston from Hendricks County, and he says, absolutely not, it is a town. So
We are incorporated in the town.
we are in the town. So I have always felt it was the town issue, but I don't know that. I don't know all the jurisdictions and so forth. So I guess we come seeking information on that, whose responsibility is it, what can be done so we can move forward with improving the property. It is a terrible eyesore, and we'd love to just put a parking lot back there in lieu of big ravine and ditch that keeps eroding and throwing the soils downstream. So that's it in a nutshell. And the last suggestion we had from Gary Aiken was to approach the council. So that's why we're here this evening.
We catch the water from east, north, and
west, all the business, all throughout there, all their water comes right across our lot, right into this one common ditch. We feel, you know, we got some responsibility to take care of our, well, we, you know, into there. Many businesses there, that's, all their water comes right across. We've had proper water as deep as 4 to 6 inches.
Or is this something that you and Barry get together and find out exactly who has, number one, who has jurisdiction? Try to work with Edwards to get some kind of resolution?
Yeah, as you can imagine, there's two sides to every story. I know
Absolutely.
Barry has worked with them and talked with them and requested information through the years. And recently, yes, because of the substation going in, they're having to do some engineering and design. And so we were hoping that that project would help solve this problem, so that it would be more or less on their dime and not on ours.
And is that project complete? Because I haven't been back
No, this is the substation that's going in behind
there. And they have they started it?
They've cleared.
They've
I
cleared
saw the
it.
clearing.
I was gonna say that's all they've done.
Yeah,
so
they've
far.
cleared, that's it.
Okay.
They're still working on engineering and design. They haven't passed
Is it
through
John
site plan
Ayers?
yet. No. This would be Wabash Valley Power, so it's the electric co-op that is building that station.
And
The
we're-
county actually sold 2 acres to Wabash Valley.
We're 100% sure it's our town, not county?
It was county ground, but it's not a dedicated public right-of-way until now.
No,
because
their property. What is their property?
Town.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
Edwards
all
is
I'm
town,
worried about.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
Is it basically the property directly south of your used equipment?
Right,
Okay.
Right south of the display lot.
Mhm.
And it drops off like, you know, several feet there, and look out all the trees and that kind of thing.
And you've recognized from day one that there's, obviously, there has to be a lot of grade work done, and you just want to know, what do we need to do so we
What do we need to do?
carry on?
That's right.
Barry initially proposed a collection box that was cleanable like once,
Mhm.
you know, 4 or 5 underground drains.
If I remember right, they're uncharted. The one that's there is, you know, it's about a 12-inch concrete pipe that we have no idea where it come from. It's probably age-old. Don't know if it comes from the bank basement that drains over to that area, or we just don't know. It's not on the map, if I understand that right. But we're just seeking some resolution to it, I guess, and I don't know how else to do it.
With the fact that county property is probably dumping onto that or flowing into that, is that why Barry would have questioned if it was county
And I don't-
responsibility?
yeah, I
'Cause
don't know.
I had assumed that's adjacent to the county property right there.
And I know at one point he asked for them to provide a survey to clearly understand what was on your property and what was on ours.
And that, we've got the lines marked back in.
Here to speak to the other side of this, but yeah, we definitely can coordinate. We've got a meeting regarding the substation this Friday to see where they're at on their drainage. So they're aware that we're trying to solve this problem as well because they want to go in that direction. So they have to contribute to making that drainage receive their waters and their
So
runoff.
is 2 weeks enough time to come back to us with answers and put this on the agenda for the next meeting?
And update you in 2 weeks.
Ray, you got a thought here? Okay, well, if Laura talk to Barry and try to get things moving a little bit here, back to us in a couple weeks if we can come back to the next council meeting.
Easy, yes.
We may have some answers or Laura, if you can contact them, have information. There's no sense in coming to a council meeting that we don't have any information. Obviously, we're going to appreciate you asking us, but the answers, we still don't have the answers. But Ray's got some knowledge to this, and Laura will get with Barry, and we'll see what we can do.
Great. That's all we ask.
Thanks for letting us know.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Any department heads real quick? Laura?
So at your seats, you should have an illustration of this lovely piece of property. You may not immediately recognize it, but the large sort of rectangle off to your right is 4 Oaks. I see a little bit of that. And you'll see a blue box immediately west of that. And that is property that the developer is looking to acquire and then further connect it to 4 Oaks and develop it as part of the subdivision. So in order to do that, they need to annex. So as is our custom, I'm asking for council's consent to annex that 55-acre parcel, should they so petition us. And they're giving me every indication they're going to move forward pretty quick.
Good.
Will that have the same, I know 4 Oaks is split as far as who provides the water, where the kids go to school, and would this be under those same conditions as opposed to, because it's attached to that addition?
Well, while it is on the Center Township side, not very feasible for us to run water to it.
Okay.
So my expectation is they will continue, well, they obviously would be served by West Central Sewers without a doubt, but I imagine they'll continue to extend the water line from within the system to serve this property. So
What
we
about
won't get
schools? Would they have to go to Danville if it's in Center Township?
Technically, they'd be in the Center Township side. And in case you were wondering, there would be an exit out onto 10th Street. That's part of the motivation for acquiring this property, because they can gain that access through, a typical subdivision design. So
How many homes would you estimate?
they didn't give
They
a
haven't
number.
said.
They did imply that it would probably be a little more dense, not quite as large as the other homes in the rest of the development.
Yes, Nick?
Say go forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Petition.
That's all I had.
Okay, Jenny?
I just want to remind you guys that this week the publications will be coming in the Hendricks County Flyer and the Republican for the additional appropriation. That will be coming to you on the July 16th council meeting that we discussed last Monday night at the budget meeting. I want to remind you guys be in the Republican Thursday and the Hendricks County Flyer Saturday.
Yeah, I've been hearing last couple of weeks about people wanting to have Danville a more golf buggy friendly town. I looked into it, thought about it. I think it's a good idea. What I'd like to ask tonight is if Laura could look into regulations or other towns that do this and see what the pros and cons of this are. Golf buggy.
Oh, golf carts.
Golf carts.
Carts.
I talked to Rex Dugan down in the villages where they use that. They had 120,000 people, but they had 4 accidents, and none of them are from cars. They're from people falling out of them. And
Now down there is when you take 20 minutes to get there in a golf cart, where you could get there in 5 in your car.
so anyways, I would like to see what it would take. I think it'd make a fun town. Put Disney World up in the corner? No, sorry.
We are repainting the water tower. We our motto, golf cart, capital of Hendricks County.
That's right. Sanctuary city for golf buggies. Get top news. Increase our property value.
Does have enabling legislation for communities that want to adopt an ordinance regulating golf carts. So far, we have not adopted one. There are others that have, plenty of examples. Lebanon, I believe, was the first to trigger the need for the enabling legislation, so their ordinance may not be the ideal one to follow, but we certainly can look into it and bring you back a draft, something to consider.
I'd be interested to see how many people would actually utilize something like that. Maybe in some of the, like Wexford, where you're big and you could do that, but like in my area, it's pretty dense. May not be that feasible.
Yeah, they even have little buses, 8-seater buses, somebody goes around and picks
Really?
people up. Police even drive them in some communities. $90,000 golf buggy for police.
Marcia?
Anyways, I think.
I'm sorry, Tom.
That's all right. Anyways, I think it's a good idea.
Something to look at. Marcia?
I just want to remind everyone that Wednesday is Family Fourth Fest, 6 o'clock, and fireworks will be around 10 to 10:10. It is a partnership between the town of Danville, the Chamber of Commerce, and Westbridge Church. So please come and join us. There'll be lots of things for the adults and the kids to do. Fireworks.
Nothing. Jim? Nothing. I'll second what Marcia says. Everybody have a great 4th of July. Go out to the high school, correct? Enjoy that, watch the fireworks, and be safe. Stay hydrated. Motion to approve claim docket.
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Claim docket's been approved. Meeting is adjourned.